Well, you see, I'm just like mad in general because like my news feed is a river of stupidity, and I'm not really saying that to create the idea that like I was born more intelligent than anyone else. I just choose to be less apathetic about problems in the world, and rather than be rash in posting an issue and having an almost fake faked till made attitude about following some type of activism, I actually, I'm concerned for what's behind it before I get behind something. A lot of people get behind these really these minor problems in the world, and then they'll totally spotlighting them. Like, they'll post something about like one dog whose owners got like beat him or something. And yeah, that's sad, and that is happening all over the world. But like, have you heard of human trafficking before? Like, honestly, in my entire time on Facebook, I've never seen one post in regards to human trafficking, and that self itself is proof that there is really a controlled aspect of our newsfeed, or what people are influenced to post things about. And I notice very often people don't really post a lot of original content. They're usually posting things from pages that you can like and just regurgitating it. And I've said before that people becoming dependent on other sources for their self expression is unhealthy. You're a distinct individual, and sometimes you need to create something to distinctly express yourself. And often, when you don't really indulge that part of yourself, it kind of dies. Whenever you don't indulge a part of yourself, it dies. And I don't know, that's something that makes me sad because, like, I don't know, I don't know, I just have like an avenue to express myself. Like, I do music, and I have like a totally distinct view on everything. Like, maybe not entirely like the moral idea of like things I express in my music, but I have like distinct ways of saying things or distinct ways of feeling about it. And it's like said that some people don't really acknowledge those distinctions. Like, I go on Facebook to try to get to know people, not to like know who you agree with. Like, I want to get to know you, your distinctness. Like, all you're really doing is creating dots for me. Like, oh, you agree with this person and this person and this person, and it gives me like a connect the dots idea, but like not a fully not a complete image. And I feel like, I don't know, our dependency on other things to express ourselves makes us less unifiable. Similar to how promiscuity does. That's another issue I have with the world. Like, people think like, I don't know, these things are subjective. Like, do you realize that you're indulging a part of yourself that judges people exclusively by their appearance when you're being promiscuous? Like, our first desire when we meet someone is to get to know them. That person is, however old they are, a lifetime of memories. And the first thing you want to know about them is what they look like with their clothes off or something. Like, that's very superficial. Although I am pro nudity because I don't think that, we should associate nudity with sex immediately, because I feel like I feel like it's jailing in a way, because like, something that is part of who you are shouldn't ever be demonified. Like, we shouldn't feel guilty for having these body parts, and I think that's something that's psychologically unhealthy. And it's like we're covering something that we've been told is a sin almost. And I mean, hedonists, not hedonists. Hedonists would object to that. I'd call myself an hedonist. I think that's cute. What else do I want to rant about? I don't know. Like all these Donald Trump posts, like, oh my gosh. Like, if you're gonna hate Trump, please, please, for the love of any higher power or nature, whatever it is, just have a logical reason to justify your hatred, please. Like, emotion without reason is so incredibly destructive. What else do I want to rant about? I guess I'm not like really like too high up on this issue, but what upsets me is that like some people are so condemning of, I guess, the unpopular view on it. Especially like I'm in New York, like no one really accepts this view here, but I am a pro-life person, and I'll tell you, like, I don't know, I guess like my personal reason for being that way. Like I do have logical reasons, but I'll just tell you the personal one because it also, contains logic which applies to it. But like I guess like the personal aspect of it kind of gives emotions which are almost necessary for you to understand where I come from on it. And it's that my grandma, when she was pregnant with my mother, was going to an abortion clinic, and she was actually in the office, or I don't know, wherever the hell like they actually give the abortions. And this abortionist was like trying to convince her to stay because she actually like had like this last minute impulse to just like run out of there, and she did. And that makes me think, like, because of all this pro-abortion propaganda and the very legality and acceptance of it, you know, it was like, borderline from preventing my existence. And I feel in that alone, it's definitely hypocritical for me to be tolerant of that. So, and it's not like I get offended when people say they're pro-choice. Like, I don't know, maybe I should be. It's just that, like, I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have a lot of friends if I had some of the same intolerance that a lot of pro-choice people have, you know. But what else do I feel like ranting about? I guess I'll rant about socialism. You see, the government's saying they're going to tax, the rich people more. Okay. Where do we go believing that the government's gonna use this money more generously than a corporation? Like, tax dollars don't go directly to us, they go directly to the government, and the government creates a promise that it's going to be spent for our interest. There's only one federal government, there's many businesses. If one business decides to treat one better than the other, you can buy from the better business. But if the federal government, there's no other federal government for you to choose. That government can get so corrupt, and you won't be able to financially deprive it the same way you would a business. And without that choice, you have no control. It's just a scheme to strip people of their power. I promise you that. And this whole free college thing is only a stepping stone. We don't want to go that way. We need to be smart and realize that what exists in the world, we vote on it with our money. And I don't know, like, my ideal lifestyle would be to live off the land and not have to spend money whatsoever, because I feel like so much stuff in our society is so corrupt that it's like, I don't want to vote for anything. And, It's really hard for me to sleep tonight. It is so hard. Yeah. And there's no satanic organizations against human trafficking, despite its like, oh, we're progressive Satanists because we're so pro voluntarism on sex. I mean, how many satanic organizations against human trafficking are there? None. There's a lot of Christian organizations that are against human trafficking. But, oh my gosh. I was reading this article written by some person who was like, oh, forget it. I'm not really prepared to talk about that. I'm trying to write an article talking about how the majority of our oxygen comes from phytoplankton, and that when the temperature goes up, less phytoplankton can habit the water. Kind of like, in tropical climates, there's clear water because the phytoplankton cannot really live there the same way they would in cold water. Because the temperature dissolves the nutrients, or some shit like that. I forgot. I'm writing the article, so it's gonna be good. But like, when there's less phytoplankton, less of that CO2 gets recycled to oxygen, and it's statistically proven that the temperature goes up before the CO2 goes up. And then you got these people like Al Gore who are trying to freaking push like this Agenda 21 bullshit. Oh my gosh. I don't know what else to talk about. What else is there to talk about? I don't know. I think if people actually cared, they wouldn't waste their time, end up wasting their time on such minute issues. Because, when you actually care, you ask questions. And nobody asks questions to find out if what they're supporting is legitimate or not, You can tell if someone cares or not if they're asking questions or not. When I was young, 10 years old, and 9/11 happened, the first thing I did was ask questions. Alright, well, I'm done. Bye.